and welcome back to Count Her In. We are so excited to have our first ever podcast guest on the show. Rachel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you girls doing?
We're doing fantastic. And this is this is our first show ever on any of our shows we've done. We've been in person, kind of a scheduling thing. I sent Rachel a Zoom calendar link and I was like, there's a Zoom link in it. And then like 10 minutes after, I'm like, where is she? She knocks on my door. We're both here in Shanghai. I'm like, oh, she's here. Here.
I thought I was meeting you.
Which is also great. So now we get to do this. We've got to get set up. We're chilling in my
apartment.
I love that. And we're so excited to have you on Count Her In. So Count Her In was really a baby that, honestly, you were like one of the huge inspirations for it because we had so many cool founders on, but we're like, there is such a huge market and community of young female entrepreneurs as well. And of course they haven't done a unicorn $1 billion company by them, but they've done so much and they've had so much wonderful impact, and their work they're doing is just immeasurable. By under 25, it's just crazy. So we wanted to have a show dedicated directly for those people, and I thought no better person to come on than you to debut that. So Weilyn, how did we get us started on Count Her In? What do we do?
Yeah, for sure. Just to hop in there, I remember the first time we ever talked, I was so shocked. I was in disbelief that you were as young as you were. I was like, there's no way. I was like, she's lying. She's 21 for sure, but just in awe of all of the amazing things that we'll talk about today. But we love to start this podcast with a new tradition of ours, which is bringing something to the table to eat. So what are you bringing to the table today, both figuratively and literally?
That is so sweet. So I am at Ali's house. So I am, technically bringing her food to the table. But I'm just going to regurgitate that to be mine for now.
Of course.
Literally, you all know I'm a huge cheese fan, and I'm going to use cheese as kind of my metaphor as well. There's so many different types of cheese. It's so versatile. There's so many ways to cook it. So many, and, cheese can be something that's soft and light in the moment, but it can also be super sharp and punchy. And I love that about cheese. I love versatility. I love, how it can be adapted into anything you want it to be, and how accessible it is. So cheese is going to be my literal, I love it, my literal product for the table.
Okay, that was too good. That was too good.
Figuratively, I know because Count Her In, the concept is young ideas, young minds. So what I'm going to bring is honesty and authenticity, because something that I personally struggle with a lot is my age. And it's something that, when you go to networking events, when you go to meetings, it's something that I always suppressed, because I always thought, okay, I can't say that I'm young because that means they're going to look down on me, and they're going to underestimate me. They're not going to give me the work to do. They're not going to trust me, and I can't lead a team if I am 10 years younger than them. So again, that's the point of this podcast, right? Breaking that away, because we all should count them in.
Exactly.
I love that.
Awesome. I'll head out. So I've got some great cut up grapefruit. I'm gonna do an extended metaphor right now. I think I'm feeling the vibrancy, the grapefruit on the outside. It feels kind of bland. You cut into that, there's that vibrant hot pink, and I feel like sometimes that's my vibe. You're like, whatever, and then you're like, oh shit, that's a lot. And then sometimes you bite into it, you're like, whoa, that was kind of acidic. That was a little sassy. So that's the vibe I'm giving today right now. A little vibrant, but also a little sass. I'm being a little sass today. Feeling a little sassy today. We'll see how that goes.
I love that. I also love to point out how each of us are kind of bringing a new thing to the table, even though we're all kind of female Gen Z entrepreneurs. We each bring something different. So today I have almonds. These are Jeju matcha almonds, and they are literally so good. But I think this is something I want to bring to the table because it's kind of a mix of different cultures. In Korea, they love to do this specific brand. They do a bunch of different flavored almonds. So definitely have that versatility piece that Rachel was talking about, but want to bring in diversity to the table and hopefully more in this podcast too.
That's awesome. Wonderful. Okay, so just to get started, for those who don't know, you give us the 30-second. Who is Rachelkzhang?
Yeah, so my name is Rachelkzhang. I just graduated from Shanghai American School in Shanghai. I was born and raised in Canada. And my main focus is in marketing and branding. So I have my own marketing branding company called RKZ Creative. And I work with a lot of small impact-driven companies based in Shanghai and around China. And that's so much fun. I get to lead an amazing team there. And that's really the project that I love doing. And it's an embodiment of all my passions. But before that, I also started a equestrian athleisure brand back a few years ago with my best friend Harriet, who's now running it in the US. It's equestrian athleisure, so we say stable to streetwear. We sell in Canada, US, and UK. It's called Hart Outfitters, Hart Outfitters. And I also started a female entrepreneurship community and network with over 2,000 members called SheUp, like SHEUP. And we're based in Shanghai, Hangzhou, and we run 4 to 6 events every month. And we have an amazing team, amazing leadership team. And that's also kind of all of our passion projects that we kind of grow in there. It's not something that we do for profit. It's something that we love, bringing to people, sharing the love and inspiring, encouraging, connecting female entrepreneurs in China. So that's me.
Damn, only?
Only?
I also really love horses.
Yeah.
And I teach riding.
Tell me, So, tell me how you've taken, like, because you almost went backwards, right? Usually people that have a passion, they kind of start off like small and they're like, oh, I want to make this a business. You kind of went backwards. So, like, you have a passion for horses and you're like, okay, I'm going to start like a huge consumer brand about horses. And only now you're kind of, I'm going to teach horses as like a teenage job. So tell me, like, because usually the transition is the opposite, right?
Something like that. I mean, I started riding really young. And I did the whole like thing, and that's when I was in Canada, because I was there for like 12 years. When I came to Shanghai, that didn't really exist anymore. And I guess it was kind of my way of getting like still being a part of this equestrian community. I think everything that I'm doing is very, very community driven. It's all about
I love that.
Like, so for was, how do I get into this equestrian community if I'm not riding anymore? If I'm not physically there in Canada, if I can't ride in China, like what do I do if I don't have my own horse here? So then business was the avenue to do that, really. And it was an excuse for people, it was an excuse for us to start something and bring people together into the brand. So that connects a lot into SheUp as well, because SheUp is so community oriented. Because I realized Hart Outfitters doesn't exist without a community. Right. We don't make super innovative products. Okay. Like we make like leggings and sports bras, and I can't innovate that very much. Leggings have 2 holes. That's, that's true. So we make our own products. We have fun with that. We don't make the best products in the world. We don't want to be like Fabletics or Lululemon or anything, but the brand works because of the community. And then that's when I realized, okay, this community, it's so powerful, and it's something that entrepreneurs need. Absolutely. Because this came at a time where I started Hart Outfitters when I was maybe in 8th, 9th grade, which is like
crazy. Like
amazing.
What the heck? What?
But no, it wasn't like a huge massive company or anything. But at that point, right, my co-founder and I, we were still, because we ran it digital age.
I didn't know what the word co-founder was when I was in 8th grade.
I know, me too.
But we were
I had no idea.
Well, now you guys are like co-founder of like 10, 15 things. So. Great to back your mind now. But when we started, it was like we were young. We didn't want people to underestimate us. We wanted to take big orders, like work with the factories and all that. So I guess hiding behind community is a way to put it. That's changed now, of course, but I guess it was the community that gave me so much confidence in being able to do these things. So bringing that to female entrepreneurship, I think is so important. And even now with marketing and branding, everything I do is how to build a community around the brand and how to make people find the brand, recognize it, and then love it, and then commit to it and share it around their communities. That's amazing.
I love that.
So
when you first started in 8th grade, I feel like all of us kind of had crazy ideas to start something, to do something. I started my first startup in 8th grade, but it was nowhere nearly as hard as starting up like a production and selling a product. How did you start that? How did you go from having this wonderful idea of, hey, I can't really ride horses here, to building a whole brand?
So everything again starts with people for me. This was not something that I could have done on my own. This was something that I had Harriet to do with, because she rode horses as well, and never rode again in China.
Harriet's your co-founder, right?
Yeah, Harriet's my co-founder, and she's in the US now. And when we were both in China, we were both like just almost like deprived of like this horse girl energy. We're proud horse girls.
I love that.
And I guess it came really from that. And I think all of my projects stem from that in some way. So at that point, it was really a matter of, okay, what can we, like, let's do something together. Because a community doesn't start with one, right? No. I would even argue a community can start with 2. And build it from there. Like, that's how you guys started Counter In,
exactly.
Entrepre Network. It starts with you 2 together, come together and bring your minds together. And working together.
Totally. That's so important, especially with community now. I know a lot of people have like their physical communities right now, like in general with just the way it is with religious or sports or whatever, but you've transformed to digital communities. And I think now during COVID, it's like more important than ever. So if you had a pivot, like what was that like for you? Or does it feel more native to you to have a digital community or more native to you to be in person?
Oh, interesting. You know what? Because I think I started Hart Outfitters online.
Exactly, right?
And again, it was like this matter of like hiding behind a phone screen. Because when you're email or texting your team on Instagram DMs, you don't need to say, you know,
you don't have to say I'm 16.
Rachel, with the
photo.
photo.
With the photo, no.
Of you looking
with your school uniform.
Just coming back from soccer practice, right?
Oh my god.
So I guess online community has always been something that's really resonating with me.
Yeah.
And it's given me that confidence to go into a physical community. So it was almost it's almost backwards. Really.
Yeah.
It was the anxiety that I felt was coming into these physical communities and meeting people in person and being like, damn, I hope I don't sound really, really young right now. Yeah. And I hope that I don't look. But I think something that my sister told me a while ago when I started in Shanghai more as a photographer before I did marketing branding. And freelance photography, you got to meet people and you got to get jobs, right? Sure. And so my sister and I would always say it's so hard to price yourself because especially in freelance.
No, Weilyn and I.
Yes. Oh yes.
Price tag on what your hour is worth, and that's a crazy experience. And I was super nervous about that. My sister told me was at the end of the day, they're looking at the product that you create, and not who you are. So true, right? I mean, in a certain extent of both, but at the end of the day, what they're looking at is what you can deliver. Exactly. And I think that's something that also is just really powerful for me. And getting over that of I'm young, but okay, I can do it. Yeah. And you need to believe that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so powerful.
It's amazing. I think oftentimes, especially female founders, I think me and Allie experienced this while we were trying to price the Entrepreneurs Network and really try to grow our brand is how do we price ourselves and how do we sound confident while doing this? I feel like when you go into these business meetings, people tell you, oh, like, don't use exclamation marks, don't make your voice sound high, don't do this, don't do that, because they'll make you sound like this or that. And I sat yesterday and I was like, why do we have so many rules about how we have to be in order to make business, right? It's you sell a product, it should be, no matter who's selling that product, it should sell, right? But
like I almost like point, have you seen those videos of these like teenage boys in the US who are 14 have like a gajillion dollars because they sell shoes?
Mm-hmm.
Like they sell reselling shoes. They're as immature gets. Yeah. But that's like allowed and that's like okay, that's like the brand. But like when you see like a girl, like I think of like have you seen those videos like I've made $1 million living in my basement making slime. Like they expected some sort of like repertoire as if you have like a Fortune 500 company. Yeah. Like no, why can't they just be as casual or speak in whatever candor that is native to them?
Yeah, I mean I don't think that's not even true for just young kids though, right? If you look at higher levels, like look at politics, for example, right? Look at how much we scrutinize like Hillary Clinton for everything that she wears and how like and we criticize everything that women say and like Margaret Thatcher, she's an iron lady because she is really assertive and she knows what she wants and she's pretty aggressive about it. She doesn't go around the blocks, right? But like do we hold the same kind of these almost negatively connoted names towards male politicians? No, we don't. And I mean, go to Margaret Thatcher, she twisted the whole iron fist thing, but it started from a Russian, I think he was a photographer or something. He was a Russian journalist. And then he titled her like the Iron Lady. He was like, Iron Lady goes rogue. Iron Lady is and then brought that back to Russia. But anyways, it's the concept is the whole entire world trying to tell women they have to wear X, Y, Z, they have to say X, Y, Z. Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay, I think Weilyn and I talk about this a little bit just personally, but also just we talk about our guests sometimes. We have a conversation that we've just been really wanting to get out there, and it's about this it girl. And I feel like the Iron Lady is like the it girl is now, like to be this like she wakes up at 5, has her morning matcha, takes the kids to school, then does this, then does your yoga, then has her vegan breakfast, then goes on her run, and is super productive and is skinny and is beautiful and everyone loves her and is so like balanced. What are your thoughts on being the it girl? And people, I think, say it girl, sorry, people want this female entrepreneur to be an it girl. Right? Whereas like you see, like male entrepreneurs, they can be like bums who wake up at 2 and their sweats and be gross, objectively speaking. And be fun. Entrepreneurs have to be so put together and be this girl and everything perfect. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think that exists. I genuinely don't think that exists. I think there's so many problems that people in general face, and I think the expectation for women to have to put up this exterior is ridiculous, right? Especially looking at like female founders who have kids, for example, right? And they have to work, and it's like a crazy messy day, and like, the kids are fussing and all of that, right? Like you have like people need to be emotional, and people need to have feelings, and people need to be who they authentically are. And I think for me, it was like I also like wanted to be, I guess not really this. I wanted to be someone.
Yeah.
Like, my definition of it girl was more suppressing me and who I really was. So I wanted to be someone who was like super formal when I spoke. I was didactic. I was like calm, cool, collected, and I wasn't like super like upbeat and vibrant and like fun and exciting. Which like if you know me, I really am.
Yeah.
And I think, I guess, so that was like another hump, because I guess it girl can be defined in different ways.
True.
And I guess it could be different for each person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think something that sticks with me the most is that we keep seeing iterations of the it girl, right? It's not just our generation who has this it girl who, you know, it's not even guys saying we have to be this way. It's girls saying to each other that we have to be this way, or girls saying they're posting these videos, and the majority of the people who are watching those videos are young girls who are like, I need to be like that. And then once they like internalize that, like what you were saying, Rachel, like it becomes you making those iterations for yourself. Like every year you're like, I need to be a better, bigger, beautiful, like more beautiful person than I was last year, because we keep telling ourselves we have to be better, we have to be better.
It's different. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I think success looks so different for each person.
Yeah.
100%.
With what that looks like is so important, because I'm a huge advocate for slow entrepreneurship. I think, you know, everyone is like, okay, we're going to be a unicorn. We're going to get like a $20 million investment. We're going to go out there. We're going to go public in a year and X, Y, Z. All of this is going to happen. Yeah. Right. But at the end of the day, slow entrepreneurship is very okay. It's very okay to start a company and not want to be massive. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that's for Hart Outfitters as well. We're not going to be super, super big, because that's not our goal. We want to do the slow entrepreneurship. And I think making entrepreneurship more accessible to everyone, it's like the standard of like, let's not set an it girl, let's not set an entrepreneurial mindset of what that looks like. Totally. Right?
It's like, just because you don't IPO or like have $1 billion company here does not mean you're an entrepreneur. Like, I love this idea of small entrepreneurship. Yeah, totally. Slow entrepreneurship.
I love that.
You walk in Shanghai and you see all these noodle stalls, and they're family-owned businesses, and they're owned by themselves. They're not trying to be like the new Din Tai Fung or the new whatever. They are sustaining their business long term, and like that's it. And they're business owners, but like that's how it is.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever heard someone put slow and entrepreneurship in the same sentence and not say that as an entrepreneurship you never want slow. I feel like the general idea and like the culture around it is like you want fast-paced growth. Every day is like beating the next day, and I think it's so refreshing to see like youth really take a step back from what we were so used to seeing, and being able to say, hey, like it doesn't have to look the certain way.
Yeah.
For you, yeah.
I think honestly, like running Hart Outfitters, right? You run like the day to day. So when you're running the day to day, and you're seeing the very small specific details and the metrics of like how many likes is this Instagram post getting, or how many website clicks do I get on this product on this day. Running these day to day things, I think, gives you a lot of perspective of like what are my expectations are for the company. How do we be realistic about this with what we can provide? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, Hart Outfitters, we have a team of like maybe 6 of us. These are not our full-time jobs. We can't dedicate that much time to it. So that reflects in our metrics, in our day-to-day. So when we say, okay, we want to get like 1 million sales in 2 months, and we can't put the effort into that, just physically we cannot do it. We were going through school, and our team is going through school, we can't do it. What do we do? Right? So I think saying to ourselves, we're okay with this, puts so much pressure off of us. It takes off so much pressure, and it's a really, really amazing feeling to say, I'm okay with this, and I'm okay with these goals that we can do.
I think Weilyn and I need to internalize that.
I was just about to say.
So okay to do that, you know, and it puts so much pressure, and you have so much more fun doing it, because no one likes setting these goals that aren't attainable, and no one likes seeing that these metrics aren't up to quote unquote par every single day. these little things that can really get you down and can motivate you. And especially in entrepreneurship, you need to be intrinsically motivated to do your business, because no one is putting a deadline on your ass, right? No one is telling you guys set up that Zoom call today and get that meeting done by next week, right? You guys are doing that yourself. So being happy with that and loving what you're doing is just so important.
I love that. I'd love to talk a little bit more about motivation, because usually we talk about Gen Z people are in school. The most traditional sentence, your parents are pushing you, your school is telling you to assign that. But with particularly Gen Z entrepreneurs, you really don't have like, you don't have to do entrepreneurship. You don't have to do business. It's not like you're 33 or someone you need to push yourself.
Right.
You've got forces pushing you. You've got your parents, you've got your school friends, you've got the school. You don't need to be pushed. What gave you that extra push, and why do you think you have that mentality?
I think
psychoanalyze yourself for me. Go for it.
Oh my God.
I love that.
Oh my goodness. Can I relay that question to you guys?
Sure. For you or for ourselves?
No, for yourself.
I've done a little psychoanalysis on this, so I'm not gonna lie. I've been asked this. I think it has to do with my and who I was around. But I think it's a combination between like nature and nurture. Yeah. So I can definitely say I can owe it to my dad, my parents, the community I was in, particularly growing up in the Jewish community in Hong Kong, very entrepreneurial. Being in Hong Kong, surrounding myself, just seeing these stories, I always felt a connection to strong entrepreneurs, people who are doing something different. I always like it. It almost like, wait, I was thinking about this the other day. You know Wonder Woman? Like, you know Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
I almost think of it's like a female entrepreneur. Like, female entrepreneur means Wonder Woman now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I thought about that. But I was just so drawn to that in myself. Like, I was always like fine in school. Like, I did school activities. I always loved that. But I always felt like there was something like a little zig, or something different, a little zag. It was good, but there was something always a little different. I always had so many ideas and I wanted to create something new. I think that's why, like, the environment also intrigues. Like, what about you, Weilyn?
Yeah, for me, I think, yeah, for sure. I don't know why I said yeah for me. I think for me, it was a little bit more of, it was a little mixture of everything. I think I saw entrepreneurship not in the traditional way within my family. So definitely my grandfather, he was a big inspiration with me. He owns like a small little hawker stall. He sells drinks in Singapore. And seeing him wake up at like 4 a.m. every morning to like help his community around him showed me the path between like service and entrepreneurship, and how like just because you might not have a lot of resources doesn't mean that you can't help your community. And so I think that was like definitely the first places I started to see entrepreneurship. And then I just remember always sitting in the car with my dad, and we would like go through like, okay, why does this problem look a certain way, or who's running the traffic lights? How can we make traffic lights more efficient? Or just like throwing random, like, why don't we have gum that lasts flavors like forever, right? And so like trying to find solutions to those problems was definitely something that always interested me. And so I think that's where I started to see entrepreneurship. But also my mom used to make us do flea markets. So she would like make us take all of our old books and like go to the streets and like try to sell them to people. So that was definitely a fun memory. What about you, Rachel?
So I think for me, it's a matter of, I hated being bored. I always hated doing nothing. I've always hated doing nothing. I always had to do something.
Yeah, like, hyperactive mind and
exactly. So and for me as well, I feel like the way, like, I think I'm a very happy person, and I really do. Like I love life. I love everything, right? And I think how I usually get there is I think to myself, okay, if when I'm down in this moment, what do I need? In this tiny moment, what is one small thing that I need that would give me that instant gratification? Sometimes it's like, okay, I want to take a nap and not work for 30 minutes. Sometimes it's like,
that's awesome.
I want to go out and I want to just get French fries at McDonald's. You know, these types of things. And it started getting to the point where I was like, okay, right now what I want is I want to go talk to people that I don't know on Instagram. Like I want, like, there's these really cool people on Instagram. I want to talk to them and I want an excuse to talk to them.
Exactly.
Right? Or there's moments when I'm like, okay, what I want right now, I want to go to a fabric market and like create, like, I have this idea in my mind, I want to bring it to life. You know, I want to like get these sketches, just doodle them in class, and I want to make them real.
That's so cool.
Starting a business is kind of a culmination of all these little wants.
Totally.
And it's also because when you start a business yourself and it's a startup and it's only you and your co-founder, you do everything.
Yeah.
And there is always done. My friends always ask me, oh, Rachel, are you done with your work? And I always tell them I'm never done with work. And you guys, well, right? Like you are
Totally.
never done, because even if you got through the to-do list, there's so much more to do, and there's so much more that you're not doing that you could be doing.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you know, getting bored is awesome about entrepreneurship.
But on the flip side, how do you tell yourself, I'm done, I am enough, this is enough
Yeah.
for today? Because I struggle and they wear them. Okay, there's always more to do. There's always more. Like you're feeling,
Right.
this idea of like never being enough. It's really impending, especially I think as female entrepreneurs, like this going back to this whole it girl thing, you have to be so like galactic superhero, which is crazy. So how do you wrestle with the idea of balance, being enough, also like having fun? You're a teenager going out. Like where do you see all that kind of intertwine?
I think also to add on to that, like this idea of seeing every like question or every problem or every opportunity as something that you could turn into something big is something that Ali and I really struggle with. Like we talked to one person and we're like, we could change your entire company. We can make you a multi-million-dollar company, but it's not possible to take on every single project. And I think something I struggle a lot with is saying yes to everything and then seeing so much potential. But because I'm saying yes to everything, not having the time to make anything grow. So would love to hear more about how you manage it and how you truly are like so content with how you are, even when you carry yourself in meetings, being like, hey, this is how much time I have for this project, and being so open and honest with that. How do you think you found that balance?
You know what? Honestly, I think this is something that I'm still grappling with. I think we're all grappling with it. I don't think anyone is perfect at this, because it's a matter of balancing time with your passion, what you love. Because I find that I really do love everything that I'm doing. I love working with these companies. These deadlines don't feel like deadlines to me. It's something that I really want to do. Like I want to work on a color palette. I want to build a picture board. Love it. And so it's for me, it's really refreshing to be doing something that I really love. And then I think it's a matter of, I guess I think it goes back to slow entrepreneurship. I think it's defining these goals very early on, first to yourself, and then you can tell that to people. Yeah. Right. It's thinking like where do you want this to go, and being realistic about it. Realistic, but also optimistic. You know. Yeah. And then going from there. And I think on a more minute level, on a more day-to-day level, I think what that looks like is, you know, the little piece of instant gratification. I think it's your body and your mind will tell you when it's enough. Yeah. And I think not forcing it on yourself is super important, and thinking, okay, in this moment, what do I really want? And if what you really want is to go take a freaking nap or to go take a walk for 15 minutes, do that, you come back. Yeah. And then I think your mind's a lot clearer. And I think because, you know, time is a funny thing, because you have so much time and so little time. But at the end of the day, taking 10 minutes away is not the end of the world. That's so true. To do something for yourself. Even if you're 10 minutes late to a meeting, not the end of the world. And I think that's all you need. Yeah, because I think it's so perfectly on time. Even I think Zoom and online has exacerbated. If someone's 1 minute late, we're like, oh, what the hell? Like, oh, that's crazy. You expect this like complete punctuality, and it's almost like you expect so much of everyone, almost a screen. It's supposed to be a video, right? When you watch a video, you get annoyed if it's buffering. And I think right now, as you see people log onto Zooms or whatever, you're like, oh, they're a video. It should be here immediately. Yeah. If you realize, just like you, there's someone who has to sign on. They're using a device to connect to another human being who's on a device to connect to another human being. And I think generally just cutting people some slack sometimes as well. Yeah. Stuff come up. Sometimes people say, like, honestly, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what's happening. And you got to be okay with that. You have to be okay that people have lives, and there's so much more to it than just this. And that's not really what will bring you happy. Like, I'm sure, have you ever gone through a stage where, I don't know, like I know sometimes where personally, like I felt like lonely or things like that. Like I try to like hide that, to like do more work and getting like some value from that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you hide behind your work, you hide behind what's on the surface, and like the superficial layer of like, oh, I'm so cool because I did X, Y, I'm so busy. Sorry.
I think one of the things that really resonate with me was today I was on a Zoom call, and one of my favorite questions to ask someone is, what is something you're grateful for? And they asked it back to me, and I sat there and I was like, what am I grateful for today? And I said patience, because this week has not been the best sleep schedule week. This week has not been the best, like getting everything done on time, and people have been showing me a lot of patience. And I think especially during COVID, being able to show people a little bit of patience and a little bit of understanding that everyone's kind of going through their own thing is I think really important. I always go back to this. I'm not sure if you've seen this graphic, but it's like these people in a line waiting for the bus. And above everyone's head, there's like a different story. Someone lost their mom, someone just got a job offering, someone just lost a kid, someone is going through a really rough time. But you're all standing in the same line and nobody knows what each other is going through. And that, like, whenever I show myself giving a little bit of the shorter end of the stick or anything like that, I go back to that image because it's so important to realize you don't know everyone's story. Yeah.
You gotta have that screensaver. That's so awesome. Important to remember. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
You're totally right. You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have lots of experience of that here in Shanghai. I've been here for like 9.5 months or so, and like everyone who's here, especially internationally, you can't leave. And
yeah.
Crazy things going on at home. I have friends whose parents are sick, people who are going through mental health, physical health things, and like you walk into calculus class, you walk into econ class, and everyone looks the same. Everyone's wearing an outfit. Everyone has their computer. You have no idea. And like I think even with school as well in high school, so people go through crazy stuff in high school and no one talks about it. Only afterwards get out, they're like, holy shit, I was going through this.
You put on your clothes,
exactly,
go to sleep, sit down with your laptop,
exactly. That's insane. How was your last year? How did you feel?
Oh yeah, high school last year.
Last year was okay. I mean, so I was class of 2021.
Yeah. Or 2020. So we were like cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, I think, took the blunt of it because the last half of your year was, January 2020. That was your 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was, an unexpected hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for us, we had the summer buffer, and we had going into this next school year of 2020 and 2021. We were more or less ready for it. I was in China, and things in China were so great. So
you were in person the whole year.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh wow.
12th grade. I went to school every single day, every Wednesday. And it was it was more or less very regular in China. And that's a very privileged thing to say because we were able to attend our classes in person. We were also able to hang out with our friends after.
Yeah.
And go to dinner with like 20 people. And have like an event and with like 100 people and go to sporting events with like all of these schools. So that was definitely a huge privilege. Yeah.
I'd love to ask you about how you balanced, and we talked about this a little bit, or like where you see the world at the intersection, or rather how you kind of completely put in different camps, like entrepreneurial, Hart Outfitters, SheUp, all that, Rachel. And then school, I have to do my AP exam tomorrow, Rachel. Where do those worlds completely different? I'd love to hear about that experience.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was terrible at this throughout high school because I tried to split up these two identities so much. So I had my school identity, I had my business identity. They never mixed. They never crossed over, which in retrospect is such a missed opportunity because there's so many people and connections and ideas that could have been honed and could have existed if I brought those worlds together, both for myself and for other people. But for me, it was really like and I probably shouldn't have done this, but I put them at the same level at priority. It was because this latter half of like the entrepreneurship businesses, it was like mental health. It was like so it felt it was something that I could say, look, I did this, and be really, really proud of it. And I think doing the business gave me a lot of confidence in academics because I was never like a super academic person. Like I do good in school, but like finding motivation to do school can be difficult when you have no motivation period. So I think my most productive times were like the months leading up to AP tests when I was studying for APs but also running the businesses. It was like hyper mode. It's like when you do that, like I was pretty proud of myself. It's pretty cool to do that.
No, that's awesome.
A lot of fun.
It's awesome. It's like having to put it in different worlds and being able to meet even more people and bring those worlds together.
Yeah, I think that's something that I want to do more now, especially like I differentiated school life, business life, and personal life. So I never wanted to cross anything over each other.
Now you're just Rachel.
Yeah, exactly.
The only Rachel. There's one version.
Exactly. It's like an Inside Out. Those are all like the little islands, right?
I love Inside Out.
They're all your little islands.
Oh my
God. Like, they're all
so hard. That hurts. Oh my god.
I know.
Oh, that made me so happy. It's so good.
Are you both criers during movies? Do you cry a lot during movies?
Absolutely.
I only cry watching.
I cry in movies. I cry in every movie.
I know, me too. I don't know. I feel like first movie I ever cried in, Alvin and the Chipmunks 3. When the three siblings.
The shipwrecked one?
No, it's when they all went to high school. When they all went to high school, and then they like stopped being friends, and I was like,
I remember.
This is so sad.
There was a little one. There was like the cool one.
Simon, Theodore, and Alvin.
No, it's like Alvin, Simon, Theodore. Yeah. And I remember I had a bad day. That was number 1 though.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was. I'm literally. Can we watch that? Okay, that's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever cried on a plane? That's a whole nother experience.
Oh my god, no, that's like meta. That's
oh my gosh.
Meta.
When it's freezing in a cabin and you have like your blanket wrapped around you, your legs are tucked up, and there's like, and it's like dark, and you're watching a movie with your earbuds in. Not your earpods, your earbuds. Your
earbuds.
Yeah,
headphones.
Headphones. With the the triangle thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, the 3 prongs. Imagine being on a long haul flight. Couldn't be me. Literally have not in 9.5 months.
I haven't.
That's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's oh my goodness.
That's
no,
crazy.
having those motions. Yeah. So when you feel kind of overwhelmed with everything going on, where do you go to? What are your outlets?
Ooh, riding. Horses. Yeah. It's so this is, I guess, the opposite of this busy hustle.
Sure.
Right, and the people and everything. So riding is something that you do individually.
Yeah.
So it's a single person thing. You know, even when you're riding, it's silent. You guys aren't talking.
Yeah.
You guys aren't like doing banter or anything. You're just you, and I think that's a really special feeling. And balancing that with like the hustle of meeting people all the time and doing the community thing, because that can be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and you have to put yourself
Yeah, absolutely. That's
you have to like put your personality to like 100.
Exactly. Put your personality 100, because every single new person you meet, that's your
first time they're meeting you.
Not intimately meeting them. You're meeting them for like 10 minutes. You need to make your damn impression.
Totally.
You know?
Scan that WeChat. Add that WeChat.
And you need to really, you have to really be there and on that level.
Yeah, so they remember you. It's all those things as well.
Exactly.
Because honestly, one of the worst feelings is, oh, sorry, what's your name again?
Yeah.
Like, that's a shitty feeling. That's a really shitty feeling.
Oh,
yeah.
I always
100%.
I'm like, Ali, like Alibaba, and then they don't forget. But, like, that's going on.
That's smart.
Yeah, I think, especially, like, I think we all have our little outlets. So, I know community people, I think, love being alone. I think community people love being alone, right? Ali, I think run, that's a single person thing. Weilyn, do you have any like single person activities that you love? Yeah, what's Weilyn's?
Honestly, going to the gym or like doing something. I don't know. What do I do alone? I think going to the gym is like my main one. I've been trying to get into running, but I'm no like running star. We actually wanted to start a series. I won't take credit for this, but I saw this TikToker. And she does like average girls running series where she's not like a pro athlete. She's not running like 7-minute miles. She's running like 10-11-minute miles, and she just like shows her journey through running. And for some reason that really clicked for me, because I was never like someone who could run a super fast mile or like be a superstar. So that was, I think, super inspirational. I would love to hear, like where
I'm not having to be perfect at everything you do.
Exactly.
Like, just because it doesn't mean you have to be good at it. Like, she taught me the ukulele. I am trash. I play 3 notes like super slowly, and it's almost like I don't want to get good at it, because like the moment you decide you want to get good at that, you like, I just like competitive. I mean, you're so good at it. If you like designate like this is like purely for pleasure, like even with running, I'm like I had to add a stage where I was like super competitive about it. Now I'm like, I literally do it for myself. I'm not a fucking marathon runner. I'm not from the Olympics. No one cares. People post their running stats. No one cares about you, Brad. Like, no one cares. Literally, no one cares about your Strata store.
Shut up, John.
Literally, John. No one cares. You're not the Olympian. No one cares. You're not Usain Bolt. Something like just for you, and no one's taking metrics of it. I feel like everything else people can like measure and measure. The idea of having something you can't measure is so common to me, because I'm like such a calculated person. I love like to graph things. I love numbers. To have something that like is like immeasurable. Even like listening to music, listen to positive, no one measures that. Even like, because you can get measured about everything. People get competitive about freaking sleeping. Oh, I sleep this many hours. Oh, this is my REM cycle. Like, you can get competitive about everything. But if something that you can completely not be like competitive or like numeric or tracking about is so awesome. People like sailing, things like that. Like, it's really just, I don't know, even reading, I don't know, like something you completely don't track at all. Like, just like there, and you couldn't give a shit what anyone thinks about your achievement.
I think that's really hard for some entrepreneurs because everything can be like everything you can assign a number to, right? So like pages read in a day, minutes of music you read every day, even meditation for a period of time. For me, I had a teacher who was like, meditation changed my life. You need to meditate 15 minutes a day. And I would like force myself to meditate, even though like I really did not like meditating. It was just not for me, not my form of like relaxing. And I would sit there in silence for 15 minutes and be like, this is so uncomfortable. But because people were like, oh, this is how you become kind of that it girl, this is how you become like the best version of yourself, I would do it. No,
absolutely not. I feel like it's more like a meditative state. I think that's
100%.
What it comes back to, like meditative state. Like I'm gonna suggest something to it. Like I know Weilyn's like, it's not something you want to like pursue as like a career, at least at this point in your life, but like you're really good at graphics and like calligraphy. Like she's super talented. If you ever helps her logo, Weilyn is so talented at calligraphy. Like she's so good. Like I don't think she's gonna go to art school like today, because like that's not like something she wants to like do as a career like right now, and like she wants to. It's not like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like something you want to like optimize. Like it's something you want to like slowly hone in. It's not like I want to get as good as possible, right? It's like more slow growth.
I think for me, like that's actually what it is. I just haven't done it for so long, is crocheting. So I grew up like, we grew up moving all over the place, and I would crochet on like moving boxes sometimes. And I would make like carpets or like toys or things for my like cousins and things. So definitely crafting like, was the big one.
You're like, no problem.
Exactly. Carpet, here I go. But yeah, graphic design, like if I have time to do it, like if I have like 3 hours of nothing, like my ideal day is like sitting down and like playing around with things. But sometimes when there's like a time crunch, I'm sure Rachel, you understand this. I feel like sometimes there's a big balance between like doing something you love, but also like putting time and putting money and value onto that, and like making that into a business can sometimes suck that enjoyment out.
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to freelance, because you're pricing your hours.
Absolutely.
You're deciding like, okay, an hour of my time is worth like $20 or $60 or $300.
Yeah,
you know, that's a really, really difficult thing to do.
Oh, for
I
sure.
don't think anyone's
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I have a question for Weilyn. We've chatted about this a little bit. Weilyn, what is your ideal day? Like if tomorrow you were gonna die, God forbid, what would you do today?
Knock on wood.
Oh, okay. What would I do on my last day? I think last day, a Singaporean, true to the heart, eat some good food with family and friends. I think that's definitely number one. Eat some good food with family, friends. Spending, honestly, what would I eat? Singaporean food for sure, Japanese food, Korean food, Italian. Oh, have to.
She's traveling the world.
Oh, she is. She's
traveling the world.
She's an air miles.
We're gonna do everything. I think I would just enjoy the small moments. I think that's what I would miss the most. Someone told me their most exciting thing about going back to campus is when you walk around campus and everyone has their path to go to classes. That path is so unique to you, but you run into the same people every time. And so you have path friends. And I think like those small moments where, you know, you might not have run into them, or you're crossing the street, and appreciating those moments. I tell Allie this a lot, but like when the green light, oh my goodness, I told this story so many times, but it's like literally my favorite thing ever. It's like when you cross the street, right, when you're like about to like walk on the street, and just as your foot like touches the ground, the light turns green and you're able to cross, is like one of the best feelings that I have. So whenever it happens, like I trained myself to smile every time it happens. And so like whenever it does happen, I jump with like, I literally tell my friends, I'm like, did you see what this happened? Like today's a good day. Or we can see the stars here, and you know, in Asia you can't see the stars, so we'll do star check sometimes, like star check, everyone look up, see the stars for a bit. Wow. Where do you think you find moments of like small moments of joy?
Oh, small moments of joy. I love bars of soap.
Whoa.
I know it's so specific, but I love bars of soap.
Do you live in a hotel or something?
Bars of soap. I really love like
what do you love about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, it's sustainable.
Like a fresh bar of soap as well.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly.
Oh, you're right.
It's like first of all, it's sustainable, right? Liquid soap comes in like the plastic bottles, not great with like the little tubes and the
the nozzle.
Yeah, but bars of soap are just so refreshing, and it's so it feels so nice in the hands. You know, it's coronavirus, wash your hands.
True.
I love I love the feeling of drinking water after not drinking water for like an hour, and then just chugging water.
That's a good feeling.
Amazing. It's the best feeling ever. Yeah, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm gonna list like 10 really quick ones. I love a first bite into a really crunchy apple, like a really crunchy apple, right? I love that feeling like right after I finish a run, you've got that like complete high, I'm like sweaty but like glowing vibes. I love when you open an avocado and it's freaking perfect.
Yeah.
I love a good morning poo. I love when you step when we used to step on planes, that perfect like mid-flight thing, and like it's like 8 hours and you still have like 8 hours to go, but you're like so cozy, you're like in your element. Oh my goodness, I love that feeling when you give that person a hug you haven't seen in a really, really long time. You just like kind of melt into them. Oh, you're beautiful. Yeah. I love finishing a book and then like opening the book and like seeing that you've like done your shit on it. Like it's like little teared up. You've seen the creases. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I think on that note, what are we going to leave on the table? So I know at the beginning we asked what you're bringing, but 10, 15 years from now, a young Gen Z female entrepreneur comes to the table. What do you want to leave for her?
Oh my goodness. I want to leave passion. I want to leave that love for something. Ali, you were the one who told me this because Ali was asking me about like horses and you know, it's very niche. There's a lot of that goes on there. And I was rambling. I was going off into like my little world. It was getting very technical.
No, we love it.
I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just talked for like 5 minutes about this very specific way that you sit on a horse. And she was like, no, don't apologize because I love passion.
It's the sexiest thing,
right?
It is.
I think at the end of the day, passion is just so important because passion drives everything. It drives innovation, drives entrepreneurship, it drives growth. And passion also tells you when it's time to stop. And I think that's super important.
The fire's not on. I like that.
And I think
that's true.
And again, not a bad thing. So I want to leave passion. I want to leave self-awareness, and feeling that it's okay not to be, you know, it girl and not to be $1 million entrepreneur, and I want to leave the okayness with that.
I love that. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. For our audience who want to continue to follow your journey, how can they do that?
Yeah, so my Instagram is rachelkzhang, RACHELKZHANG, Rachel K Zhang. That's also my website, my personal website, rachelkzhang.com. And
thank you so much for coming. We were so happy we could count you in.
Aww. Oh my god, I feel so counted in.
And that's it for today's Count Her In podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hoped you learned a lot about Rachel and how you can recognize your self-worth and connect with the world.
Special thanks to Stephanie Lee and Bailey Cherry as our podcast producers too.
If you like this, please rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. Check out our past episodes and look out for our upcoming episodes featuring inspiring female entrepreneurs, Gen Zs too.
We'd love you to support and be part of the Entrepreneurs Network community on our Instagram and LinkedIn, and get in touch with us to share your very own entrepreneurial journey.